If you're walking around Shimonoseki City in Japan, you'll notice you can't walk a single block without seeing signs like these. Behind every one of those signs is a creature built like a death machine. One of these fish is able to wipe out 30 people with a single dose of a toxin 1,200 times deadlier than cyanide. Its poison has no cure, no antidote, and yet, this sign isn't a warning sign, it's the menu. Someone has decided that this animal, of all animals, would be fun to slice up and eat. This is fugu, the Japanese word for pufferfish, and this meal isn't one of those cases where the poison is easy to remove. Fugu is the #1 cause of fatal food poisoning in Japan, with a fatality rate of over 50 times that of E. coli and Salmonella, and yet fugu remains legal in all of Japan. How does the pufferfish actually deliver their poison? How do their body structures allow them to go from this to this? And who in their right mind genuinely came up with the idea to eat this thing? Now, you keep hearing me say fugu and pufferfish, but the fugu people refer to in Japan is a lot different from the pufferfish most people picture in the ocean. The most commonly eaten is the tiger puffer, takifugu, which looks a lot more like this guy, rather than something ferocious like this, which isn't eaten at all. In fact, the little guy on the right isn't even a true pufferfish. It's a porcupine fish, which are closely related, but definitely not safe to eat. Worldwide, there are over 120 species of pufferfish, but only about 22 are approved in Japan for fugu preparation. They belong to a group called Tetrodotoxin, spread across warm coastal waters. These fish go by different names: balloonfish, blowfish, pufferfish, but the setup is always the same. They're soft-bodied, slow-moving, and honestly just built like a cartoon character. But what happens to its insides when it blows itself up? Pufferfish bones are fused into a box-like shape with no ribs to hold their organs in place. Their insides literally slosh around freely. In most animals, that would be a fatal design flaw. One hard hit would have ruptured everything inside of them. Even more surprisingly, pufferfish are comically slow, literally among the least efficient swimmers on Earth. Some species barely move at all, instead just awkwardly wobbling from one coral patch to another like a glitch in a video game. I mean seriously, look at those fins. They have no claws, no camouflage, and no escape plan. They are quite literally the definition of something that should have gone extinct, and yet they've been around for over 40 million years, outliving apex predators, ice ages, and multiple extinction events. To understand how, we have to look at their first and probably only superpower in their arsenal, which is one of the most misunderstood weapons in the entire ocean. See, pufferfish don't actually inject any poison. You can actually touch a dead pufferfish safely, assuming your skin is intact, and it won't actually be dangerous. However, I'm obligated to say not to try this. Unlike jellyfish, which can still sting after death, pufferfish toxin has to get inside your body to hurt you. The toxin is stored in the internal organs, skin, and the thin mucus layer coating them. So unless it reaches a cut or another opening in your body like your mouth or eyes, it just sits there. But this doesn't mean that it's not dangerous, even with just its armor. Look here, a pufferfish is swimming, minding its own business when a moray eel attacks it. The eel has its jaws clamped on the fish until the pufferfish swims away, just a bit fatter. The moray eel would have died if it successfully ate that pufferfish. To pull this off, they gulp down massive amounts of water, and if for some reason they're on land, air, and then force it into a super stretchy specialized stomach that inflates like a latex glove. No bones or ribs to get in the way because, as I mentioned earlier, they don't have any. And it's not just puffing up. Their entire internal anatomy shifts around during inflation. Organs get pushed aside, compressed, or rearranged in real time just to make room. Their guts literally move out the way like backstage crews scrambling before a costume change. Even stranger, in some species, sharp spines lie flat until the fish inflates, then snap outward like nature's version of a spiked tire. So now, if you're a predator, you're not just swallowing an inflated ball of a fish. You're choking on a weapon. just like this poor, frustrated otter who just wanted a snack out of that puffer. But pufferfish can't just spam this move. It comes with risk and is physically exhausting. Puffers can inflate a few times in short periods before the stress starts to damage their tissues. And while puffed up, they can't swim properly. Not that they really look like they can swim properly when they're not inflated. But all in all, by inflating, they're just betting that the predator will be scared off by the size of the spikes before taking a second bite. It works mostly because predators take one look at a swollen, spike-covered balloon and go, never mind. But unfortunately, not all predators of the ocean have the beyond the blue channel to warn them about the real dangers of the pufferfish. Only when a predator bites into the puffer is when it drops its real trump card, Tetrodotoxin, or TDX. This chemical is 1,200 times more toxic than cyanide, enough to take down dozens of humans. For context, 2 milligrams of TTX, roughly the weight of a grain of sand, is enough to shut down your nervous system completely. A single wild pufferfish may carry up to 200 times that amount in its liver, skin, and ovaries. This shows that TTX is on a completely different tier of lethality. This isn't poison that makes you vomit or pass out. It works by blocking voltage-gated sodium channels, the tiny gates that allow nerves to send electrical signals through your body. With those shut down, your muscles don't contract. That means no walking, no talking, and no breathing. And since it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier, victims are often fully aware as their lungs stop working and their heart begins to fail. And the pufferfish doesn't even make the poison itself. It's outsourced from bacteria, mostly from the Vibrio or Pseudoalteromanus families, and the puffer carries it around inside its body like a walking petri dish. Scientists think puffers collect these bacteria through their diet, eating things like mollusks and starfish that already carry these microbes. Which essentially means if you take a puffer, raise it in captivity, give it a sterile diet, you will have yourself a slightly awkward, balloon-shaped fish with a permanent look of surprise, free from poison. And I know what you're thinking. If it's lugging around enough toxins to take out a dozen people, how come it doesn't keel over from its own supply? After all, its insides aren't exactly the most well separated. But nature did think about this too, and gave pufferfish this crazy ability to evolve tiny but ultra-specific mutation of their sodium channels, which does not let the TTX bind with it. This one microscopic change makes them basically immune to their own poison. And this mutation isn't just a cool party trick. Neuroscientists actually study pufferfish because of this. It's one of the cleanest examples of how evolution can reprogram biology at the molecular level to work around a problem that it also created. Just to give you an idea of how insane this is, imagine carrying a chemical that could drop an elephant and you evolve your entire nervous system just so that you don't die from it. But the craziest function of a TTX toxin is not protecting the pufferfish from a predator. It is to do something not even scientists could imagine. Some species also use tetrodotoxin to hunt. It's believed that trace amounts of toxin present in their saliva or mucus may help immobilize prey, either instantly or over time. For such slow swimmers, any chemical advantage can help close the gap between chase and catch. But where this toxin becomes even more strategic is in reproduction. Pufferfish mothers have been found to lace their eggs with tetrodotoxin, effectively creating a chemical minefield for any predator that tries to snack on them. The eggs themselves are brightly colored, floating in open water, not hidden or protected, which would normally make them easy targets. But the toxin flips that vulnerability into a trap. One bite and the would-be predator learns the hard way. But oddly enough, the pufferfish still has another oddly terrifying weapon. Hidden behind that goofy face is a beak-like structure made of fused teeth, hard, sharp, and constantly growing. And it's not there for show. The beak is powerful enough to bite through coral, rock, bone, crab shells, and even human fingers if you're careless. In fact, aquarium owners are advised not to hand feed them because once a puffer decides something's edible, it doesn't hesitate. Pufferfish feed on crabs, clams, and snails, breaking right through the outside shell layer. But it's not all just raw strength. Pufferfish are more intelligent than most researchers initially expected. In captivity, certain species have shown the ability to navigate mazes, recognize their owners, and even beg for food when they spot something near the tank. That puts them well above most other fish in cognitive testing. One in an Australian zoo actually learned to swim onto a platform for its regular health checkups. But then again, it's Australia. Their animals have higher IQs. And despite the fact that they're intelligent, spiky, unearthly amounts of poisonous, and will bite your finger off, we've decided that could be a fun option to put on our plates. In Japan, and increasingly in high-end restaurants around the world, fugu is celebrated as a sashimi, hot pot, grilled skewers, or fried delicacy. It's a meal people are willing to risk their lives for. The practice isn't new. Fugu has been eaten in Japan for over 2,000 years, with the first written bans appearing in ancient texts as far back as the 8th century. Emperors and military rulers outlawed it repeatedly, and yet it kept resurfacing, quietly, dangerously, and deliciously. Why? The answer isn't simple. In Japanese culture, eating fugu has long carried a sense of ritual and status. It was seen as a mark of masculinity, of bravery, to sit down and knowingly eat something that could kill you. For centuries, it was a dish reserved for the elite, served in secret or under special license. Even today, to legally serve fugu in Japan, chefs must undergo years of training and pass rigorous exams, including practical demonstrations of butchering the fish and removing the toxic parts with surgical precision. Less than half pass on the first attempt. Mistakes are not an option when human lives are on the line. Yet, despite regulation, deaths still happen, though rarely from licensed establishments. Most fatalities come from amateurs or black market fugu, where untrained individuals attempt to prepare the dish themselves. Some thrill seekers even deliberately seek out slightly toxic fugu, hoping to experience the tingling numbness of trace tetrodotoxin exposure. Over the years, there have been a handful of fugu-related deaths, including a few daring chefs, thrill seekers, and even one of Japan's most respected kabuki actors. In 1975, Bando Mitsugoro VIII, a living national treasure, an official honor in Japan, died after insisting on eating 4 fugu livers, the most poisonous part of the fish. Despite being banned by Japanese law due to its high toxicity, he convinced a chef to secretly serve it, claiming he'd built up a tolerance. He died a few hours later. It was a tragic reminder that fugu is not a food to be messed with, even if you're a national icon. Still, demand hasn't vanished. If anything, it's grown. Michelin-starred restaurants now serve farm-raised, non-toxic fugu without the bacteria we talked about to tons of global food tourists. But in traditional circles, the risk is still part of the appeal. But there's a question that continues to puzzle even the most experienced chefs, marine biologists, and neuroscientists. Why would evolution create a fish so toxic that if a predator bites into it, there's a good chance both will die? At first glance, it seems counterintuitive, almost self-defeating. After all, what's the use of a defense mechanism that kicks in usually only after you've been mortally wounded? The truth is, nature doesn't always operate on fairness or individual survival. It often plays the long game. I guess just one predator dies trying to eat a pufferfish, word gets around. The message spreads. Don't mess with a spiky balloon fish. It's the last snack you'll ever try. Thousands, if not millions of pufferfish likely died, sacrificing themselves while simultaneously killing their consumers to show other animals over millennia that pufferfish are not to be eaten. And just like that, the species survives, less often through battle, but through reputation. If you enjoyed this one and want to check out a video about a venom even more dangerous than pufferfish poison, check out this video about cone snails.